Greetings to all from Asia Pacific International University, Thailand. I'm Dr. Nova Belraj. It's my privilege and pleasure to be part of this one-day international virtual conference organized by Postgraduate Department of Commerce, the Madura College. I'd like to thank all the members of the jury, and especially I'd like to thank Dr. Prakash for inviting me to give a special address. And it's my experience over the past many decades in this area of analyzing and also coming to an understanding why these products are coming up, new innovations, and how sustainability is thought about. So as you have been thinking about this FinTech 2.0, I would like to share the plan and the progress. An analytical view of the way how we can understand why these products are coming up lately in the world and across the globe. To think about FinTech 2.0, let's consider in thinking about globalization process. What made globalization process to speed up, to actually take place, initiate? If you look at this, there should be a plan for this. It is not a common or natural occurrence that globalization is happening just like that without any human initiation, or you can even think beyond it. So globalization, it is a thought about becoming one in terms of being part of in one system. And FinTech, Financial Technology 2.0, it will help us to understand why these things are. So globalization, let's think about the hierarchy of the preferential trade agreements, PTA. The first stage in the process of globalization is in establishing free trade agreements, creating free trade zones where countries, they make agreements among themselves to have free trade. Now, free trade, we mean here, it is not without exchanging aspect or stage. It is about eliminating tariff barriers. Tariff, we mean here tax. So abolish taxes. If you think back and see 3 decades before, like tax was so high for anyone to engage in foreign trade or business because things were of that nature. And if you look at much earlier than that, maybe 50 years back, you could actually see that depth of it. So if you remove this tariff or minimize it, there's a possibility of engaging in economic activity. Countries' engagement in economic activity depends upon the rate at which the tax is fixed. And the next stage is customs union. Customs union is the next stage after FTA. After FTA, free trade agreement, we have customs union. And in this customs union, there are 2 things that are going to happen. One is abolish tariff barriers. This is vitally important and the basic thing which is to be addressed. And the next one is CET, Common External Tariff and quota system. And the next stage is about common market. So you have abolished tariff, then we have a common external tariff and quota system. And then there's also additional thing in this stage, factor movement, the factors of production in terms of raw materials and human resource moving from one country to another. So the agreement goes in that level. And the next stage is economic union. And if you look at this stage, this seems to be at the top of the pyramid, economic union. So it consists of the following, like abolish tariff barriers and common external tariff. There's no difference in one country, which I mean, all the countries agreed together. They don't have the special tariff for the external one common. So common external tariff. And you have a factor movement and plus economic and political harmonization. I want you to speculate and scan through across the globe where we can understand how these things are happening right before our eyes. And every time we flip through the newspaper or listen to news, national or global, we can always see in the context of this. So this is the framework, this is the plan, and the way how it progressed. And if you take a statistical thinking on how many countries or how many kind of agreements or in all these, the first one, FTA, there are 280, more than that, free trade agreements have been made. So all of them are engaged in some form of part to rebuild their country economically and to strengthen themselves in terms of contributing to globalization process. And the second one is customs union. You have around 15 of them. And then common market, 6 of them. And economic union, many are in the formation, and still the one which is formed, European Union, is the best example you can give. So in all these stages, there is something that is coming in terms of our thinking, like when it all started, when this plan started. The General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, GATT, as we all know, it all started after it has been signed on October 30, 1947. So 1947, India got freedom, independence, and this was taking place right after that by 23 countries, was a legal agreement minimizing barriers to international trade. So they were the participants, and eliminating or reducing quotas, tariffs, and subsidies while preserving significant regulations. So it all started with a plan and its implementation to achieve a definitive goal, globalization. Every country is thirsting for better standard of living. How it is possible? All of us, we want better opportunities, better privileges. How this can be achieved? So reduced tax or tax elimination, increase the opening of more cross-border businesses. And as these things are coming up, developing, you can see you need to come up with new innovative products to accommodate this growth, So the only way to increase the standard of living is by engaging in increased economic activities. So increased economic activity calls for better system. We can't have the old system. We need to have a very innovative, creative, and addressing and facilitating the needs that were arising in this plan implementation. Today, if you look at, because of the old system and the development in the economic activities in terms of free trade agreements and all other levels, you can see there's a fractured customer experience. It means that customers are willing to engage in activities and they like to do more economic activities, speed up the process. But what is happening is they can't do it because they don't have systems in place to facilitate this happening and the boost. So looking at the whole matter, as we think about these things, we need to think in terms of globalization thinking. FinTech in terms of globalization, like what globalization means to you especially. A synonymous word that can be compared here is unification, unity in diversity, we might have heard. So globalization points to unification. interdependence. Now, unification, interdependence, and the next one, integration. These terms can be very apt for us to relate to globalization. Consolidation. We are very much familiar with this term. Globalization, consolidation, coming to a part where we can think about convergence. Everything is coming in a convergent format. If you see the evolution of mobile phone, if you see the evolution of laptops, computers, and all these things, technology, you can see how products were converged and merged and were able to synchronize and come up with one single product. So similarly, we also see the kind of a progress plan that has been brought through FinTech 2.0. So let's think about FinTech 2.0, targeted solutions. Targeted solutions. Savings. That's the first one. Targeted solutions to specific people, specific groups, organizations. And the second one is micro investing. Third one is stock trading. Fourth one is peer-to-peer payments. And the next one is smaller cash advances and mobile banking. We can see different apps have been used for different things, but now FinTech, Financial Technology 2.0 is telling we need to do in a place where you get everything done. One-stop buying, one-stop doing. So that's a place where convenience is brought, right? So FinTech 2.0 is customer-centric thinking. This is the main aspect, So FinTech 2.0 approach centers on what can be called rebundling. And this part, customer-centric thinking, is it should provide a product that can help satisfy the need that has been growing, basically based or due to globalization process. You can have different categories in this customer-centric thinking. So the segmentation could be wonderfully understood based on small, medium, and large-scale businesses. It could be one way. And you can also get into other aspects. Like if you look at this customer-centric, to have greater financial control, stability, and resilience, making it easier for a customer to fully achieve what's most important to them. It's important. And the second one is cutting-edge technology. Cutting-edge technology, it effectively accomplishes data to learn and adapt to a customer's changing needs. So technology plays a major role here. And this technology, however, access to data is important. And if you see the legacy banks, like the banks which have been established for many years and they have a legacy of what they're doing. So legacy banks have tons of data, but it cannot do much with that. And coming up with this financial technology, it gives us a good way for customers to do things. So the key is making good use of it. It means trapping data in product and channel, and also coming up with good results of business decisions. And the third one is sophisticated design. Financial Technology 2.0 startups are largely looking at areas which are coming right out of the gate with a focus on building a user-friendly digital experience. User-friendly digital experience. And if you look at prominent banks are they are unable to do, even though they have established themselves. So in this case, this sophisticated design, it helps to build a good customer relationship. And another term that we need to note here is about holistic views of customers. The best sophisticated. Now, this design, sophisticated design, is basically based on intuition. So it is intuitive user experience in the world where things are insufficient. If there are high, if someone is going to take a very high fees to use this FinTech 2.0 products and services, then naturally they're not going to use. Not everybody is going to use. So it should come with a very low level of charges. And the next one is bank charter. Charter is a document where you have the finest policies and rules and regulations that governs, controls, and also executes its motive, purpose, and goal. So bank charter. You can see a lot of things are changing rapidly because of the globalization process. While true digital banks are rare, they are likely to continue to increase in number. As they do, they can serve as something testing, the technology design and financial product integration and innovation. And the next point is market validation. The markets are already, it is showing signs, that they are ready for financial technology 2.0. And that is one great proof that we have today. Now, two most important things we should remember when it comes to FinTech 2.0, rebundling. It is also connected with globalization. It is also connected with the hierarchy of preferential trade agreements, what we have seen. Rebundling the benefits, putting everything together, like converging, consolidation, integrating. And the second point is helping provide access of financial services to people. That's most important. Now, this is how you can think about coming up with good FinTech 2.0. Now, you can also relate to many other things that we got used to it over the period of time in the past 20 years, 30 years, how we can see the emergence of technology and the devices that came in. Initially, people were, and you can see different generations, the way how they started adopting to it. It is all very, very uniquely, you can see that. But if it becomes a norm, it becomes partly, continuously associated with us, then there is no other goal. Implementation of agenda. Now, FinTech 2.0 provides convenience, undoubtedly. This is based on my research, what I've done. And the second one is benefits, wonderful benefits. Third one is materialism. And fourth one is control. Not last but not least, systematizing. So these are the focus you can see. With convenience sells. We don't sell any more products. We sell along with that convenience. If convenience is not connected with benefits, the product is not preferred by the majority. So let's look at the implementation of agenda, how it goes. When you look at convenience, customer-centric thinking, that is the most important thing. Yeah. And this is FinTech 2.0's objective. And benefits, cutting-edge technology. Materialism, sophisticated design. Control, bank charter. Systematizing based on market validation. So you can link, you can see the relationship and the way how it is and how it can all contribute to the final thing about globalization, unification. Okay. World economic growth. If you look at this chart for looking at as an example, there's a continuous increase in production from 1940s. After the implementation, of the preferential trade agreements, PTA, what we talked at the beginning, 1947, you can see how there's a progressive, continuous increase in production process. So this is because of the implementation of the plan, and it takes time to adopt. And if you look at this whole picture, this graph, you can also connect with like how the innovators who get the product when the product comes to the market, and early adopters, late adopters, and laggards, and all these things, you can see the behavior pattern. That's how the demographics they function, especially based on need and growth and how it takes place. Look at this 2022, the economic growth and how progressive it is. So there should be a system that should provide the services. Okay. For example, we work and then we get food directly if we are engaged in agricultural activities. Yeah. I know most of us, we don't have this privilege of doing. But you see here, you work, you earn your food, just like that. But on the other hand, we work, we earn money, and then we try to take that money to spend in the market to get our food. Now, which one is easy for you? Think for a moment. If you ask me, the previous plan is the best plan. I work, I get my food, just like that. I work to cultivate my food. But in this case, I work to earn money and then take that money to the market to get my food. So why I'm emphasizing on this is, when you work to cultivate your food, you are in control of your food. But in this model, work, earn money, get your food, you're not in control of your own food. Somebody is in control of your food. What is the point in having a lot of money and we don't have food? In times of famine, in times of restriction, in times of rationing, in times of calamities, what is going to happen? So what is your thinking of understanding the process of globalization, the plan and process of FinTech 2.0? So financial technology, it is all trying to take the control from you, owning your own, but getting into that. And that is being brought to you based on convenience, based on benefits. So important. I did a research many years back in 1990s in Pune for Citibank, and I found out the factor convenience was around 76%. And I did that many years later, right there in Pune, and I found that it went up. And then later, I did it in Thailand, it went up to 96%. Convenience, because of people prefer certain products because of convenience, not because of anything in the first place. Okay, FinTech 2.0, customer-centric thinking, cutting-edge technology, sophisticated design, bank charter, and market validation, and globalization process. So what is next? And I want to emphasize here, today, the solution is coming up here. How you can see the unification of the religious establishment and the political. So we talked about what is next after economic and political. So there's going to be something very major that is happening, that is unification of political and religion. Unification of political and religion. This is what has been happening across the globe for over many decades, and today we are coming. So FinTech is coming up, FinTech 2.0. And you can see, you can't study that separately, developing at the surface, but you can see how it is connected to every single thing. So what kind of identity, what kind of identification that you're going to have, or what is your perspective on understanding? Let me read this quotation from this book, Testimonies. The calamities by land and sea, the unsettled state of society, the alarms of war or portentous, they forecast approaching events of the greatest magnitude. The agencies of evil are combining their forces and consolidating. They are strengthening for the last great crisis. Great changes are soon to take place in our world, and the final movements will be rapid ones. May God bless you as you continue to think about this thought on how FinTech 2.0 and what would be the next, how unification, it really matters to all of us.